Hi friends, my name is Rebecca Hollister. I'm one of your new Leavenworth City Commissioners, and I just feel like we haven't caught up in a while. The December 23rd commission meeting was canceled due to the holidays. There's really only been one meeting since I became the city commissioner. We're coming up at the end of my first month as a city commissioner, and so I just wanted to touch base and give you guys a little insight as to what it has been like. So the best way I could think of to do this for now was to tell you about 4 things that have changed and 4 things that have not changed since I became a city commissioner. We'll start with what has changed. The number one thing that has changed is that I'm going to a lot more events than I used to. I definitely still used to go to a lot of events being involved in the community, but that has increased tenfold, especially over the holidays. It's calming down a little bit now. But I mean, it's been a blast. Like, what a privilege it is to have this new position. And part of it is just spending time with other people in the community, sharing a meal, having fun. I mean, it's been busy, but it has really been a good experience. And I've already learned so much. And it's a great way to talk to different people. The next thing that has surprisingly changed for me is how I interact on social media. So the very first thing is, I think during the campaign season, like especially the commissioners who were running and some of us were friends, we used to kind of try and like each other's stuff or hype each other up. Same with the current commissioners who I'm friends with. But we had this meeting at our orientation about the Kansas Open Records Act, which a lot of you probably have some knowledge that it means that basically 3 or more commissioners cannot be meeting together discussing city issues without prior notice. What's interesting about that is that the law really has not adapted to social media very well. So anytime that commissioners are on the same post, depending on how many there are, what they're talking about, even likes and stuff, that could potentially be a violation of the Kansas Open Records Act, which I did not know. And I really think the law needs to look at that because it's a little bit difficult, I guess, for us to keep track of communicating, especially when there's so many Facebook groups in Leavenworth. You know, I have to look at the comments and kind of see, okay, did another commissioner already comment on this? So that's part of the reason I think I've been more quiet on social media, is just because I want to be careful to obviously follow the law. And then another part of it is that I really sit back and listen more now. I mean, I saw a post the other day about the candy at the parade, like whether or not people can hand out candy to kids at the St. Patrick's Day parade. And I really wanted to comment, but I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to take all these thoughts in. I'm probably going to bring it up at the next city commission meeting, and I'm not going to comment myself, which is not something I'm used to because I like to stick my nose in business, and I've really had to take a step back from that, but I think it's a good thing overall. I think it gets me to slow down, it gets me to think more, it gets me to listen more to other people, so it is what it is. Another thing that has changed is some conversations. Now, of course, the vast majority of people in Leavenworth have no idea who I am when I'm out and about, which is totally fine. But I do get some now, people who will stop me, whether I know them, whether they're a business owner, whether they're just a citizen, and they will stop me and want to talk about an issue, which is totally fine. That is part of the point of having your local elected officials here, is that you wouldn't necessarily see Donald Trump walking on Cherokee Street and be able to stop him, but I'm definitely open to that, as long as it's not somewhere urgent that I need to be, I guess. So that's been enlightening too, to kind of feel what people's most urgent issues are, so that has really helped me as well center myself during this time. The last thing that has changed is that I am hitting the books. School Rebecca is back. The Rebecca that I was in college is back, because there are so many documents. There are memos, there are plans, there's the budget, there's codes and ordinances. There are so many documents, and so I am studying up because there's so much I don't know, and there's so much I want to learn about. So that actually has been pretty enjoyable because it kind of gives me structure to my day, and I got my master's degree a little while ago, and it wasn't too long after school, so I'm not used to not being in school, so this has been kind of nice to have some structure and like something to study and like work toward learning. So what are 4 things that have not changed? The first thing that hasn't changed is that I am not rich. I had heard tell of, and I think it's mostly facetious, but I heard tell that some of the city commissioners line their pockets. My pockets remain woefully unlined, and I can prove that because if I were rich, I would be buying Oreos, like name brand $6 Oreos. Instead, I'm buying something called Kaleidos? Probably Kaleidos. And actually, I tell you what, they're pretty good, but they're better than the Dollar Tree. I think they call them like cream cookies. Don't get those. There are good things at the Dollar Tree. There's their Pop-Tarts and pretzels. Don't get their Oreos. So anyway, we do get a $500 stipend each month as commissioners, and after taxes and capers, that is about $450. And I want to track how I spend that money in particular, and it is my goal that every dollar of that money goes back into the city of Leavenworth. So I basically am going to divide it into events. So like, you know, do I need to buy a ticket for a local event? If I need something to wear, I'm going to get it locally. And then shopping, like if I need my groceries, I might hit up one of the downtown like food businesses. If I need gifts, I might hit up downtown. If I'm just wanting to have fun, go downtown. And then donation to local nonprofits. So I'm going to try and like spread that money around. It's very like tiny, like it's not a great, I mean, it's a good amount of money, but it's not like it's going to really make or break any of these businesses, but I want the local dollars to stay local. Another thing that has not changed, I would say, is my optimism. One of my personal fears about becoming a commissioner was that I would get there and realize that I can't do anything or make any change. And I have not found that to be true. I think there's so much that we can do to impact the city. We can't do everything, and I knew that. But there's a lot coming up that I think we can make positive change with, and so I still remain optimistic. I'm not like upset or jaded at all, so I'm excited. I'll give you like a funny thing that hasn't changed. My poor sense of direction. I was hoping with all the door knocking and talking to a lot more people about cardinal directions than I used to, like north, south, east, and west, that I would become better at direction, and this is not the case. So I do know the city, but I can't orient myself, so it's very funny. Like when we toured, during our orientation, we toured the wastewater treatment facility, and we toured the fire station and the police station. And if I just found myself alone, I would not have been able to figure out how to get out. So that is a huge flaw of mine, and I think I can maybe work on it to the point where I can be more intuitive about it, but some of that I think is just, unfortunately, who I am. The last thing that hasn't changed is really much about the city overall. The number one question I get is like, well, what have you done so far? Not a ton. I mean, we passed some things on the December 9th meeting, but we've only had one meeting. We had a meeting and we had a study session. So not a ton has changed yet in any of the commissioners' time since December 9th, 2025. But things are coming. I'm very excited about some of the recent developments. I'm also cautious about some of the other recent developments. So I know all of it's very vague, but I know that I'm working, even though I have been kind of quiet. It's just I've been putting my head down and doing the work, and I'll continue to do that. So as always, still on deck. I need to upload these to YouTube. I totally kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit, and I need to, again, figure out how I'm going to keep myself accountable, especially as I move into like more deeper into like what I can do. So I'm still brainstorming, and I want to do a meet and greet at some point. If anybody has issues they want to talk to me about, I want to set up for a little, like, not a town hall, that's, no one's gonna show up to that, but like a meet and greet. I don't know, we'll think about it. So yeah, that's pretty much what the last month has been. If anybody has any questions or concerns, I'm an open book. Please feel free to reach out. And also stay tuned next week for another City in 60. And otherwise, I hope everyone has had a happy new year, and please, as always, be safe. Bye, friends.